You're listening to the Banrion Show. It's 8 in the evening. Tune in every night at 8 to listen to the Banrion Show on Irish News Radio or ITV.ie. And you can contact anything that you've heard or if anything you'd like to discuss at news@irishnews.net. You're listening to the Banrion Show on Irish News Radio, ITV.ie. We're going to be talking about the mess, the Irish government mess, and the country, and the homelessness today on the Saturday. So, as I've mentioned before, we have 10,000 homeless, 4,000 children, and the rising number of homeless is between 0 and 4, as I talked about yesterday. But what's more scary about this is the Irish government have no problem finding 5-star hotels in Laois for non-vetted migrants. And most of them, they talk about families and, they'll be bringing them in and they're going to be put into Irish school places. Now let's stop and think about this, right? That first of all, we have our own homeless crisis, massive, and our own children's whose lives are in danger of becoming homeless, and then the government brings them in, gives them this hotel, and says that they're going to be put into Irish schools. So they're going to be put. Now, what's that mean for the Irish kids? None of these children will speak English. The teacher will spend her time teaching them the basics of English, the basics of everything, holding the whole class back. So anybody in that classroom will be held back. So that the teacher will spend more time on the migrants, so-called migrant children, than they will on the Irish. And that is so unfair on the Irish children. Like, this is so unfair. They never asked for this. This is absolutely a disgrace that they're being put before the Irish. And then we have this stupid referendum coming up about he will get in anyway, Michael D. Higgins. But not only that, they're going to put alongside whether blasphemy laws should be in or not. Then they're going to waste millions to take it out of the Constitution, where they could be spending that on our health care, the cervic cancers, make sure women are okay, all these things, rather than these stupid, what they're putting forward is abortion, now to get rid of blasphemy laws that hasn't been used in over 200 years. Who's ever heard of anybody being charged of a blasphemy law? It's complete breakdown of family values, Irish, indigenous family values, and the Irish way of life. Everything as we know it is a breakdown. It is a bullshit. Millions of pounds to get rid of something that's not been used. Why not look after the Irish? And instead, you're taking in immigrants and giving them a hotel in Laois and giving them the healthcare that the Irish people, the Irish indigenous people need. You're putting them into their schools, pushing back the Irish education. So the Irish children will be the ones who are paying the price. They will not be getting the education that they need because the teacher will be focused on non-speaking English. And they won't even speak Irish, so these people can't have a language. So even their Irish language, they're not going to be in an Irish class. So the Irish children are going to be held back in so many classes. And most of them have come from no education at all. So those have to start at the basics. And most of them aren't even children. They're adults posing, as we've seen in England, as children. And that's a danger to our children, to our women, to our young girls in that area, like you've seen in the UK with, they reckon, over 2 million children have been gang raped in United Kingdom, and nothing was done. They swept under the carpet. Now in Laois, God love the children of Laois. They put these migrants, they're not vetted, God knows where they've come from, how they got it. If there's murderers, rapists, God knows who they are. And then if they're children, they're not even going to question what age, like the UK. They'll just put these teen boys even into these schools that don't speak any English, have no education, hold the Irish children up and push them back. It is absolutely a disgrace. This government is an absolutely disgusting farce of a hating Irish culture, Irish people, Irish language. And the Irish language will probably be taken off. They'll probably start teaching bloody, God knows, some Arabic language down there. It is disgusting, disgraceful. I absolutely turns my stomach every time I open the paper. They're pushing abortion. Yes, every 8 minutes in the developing world, a woman dies in abortion. And they're pushing this as in it will solve the world's problems. Just stop bringing them in. Stop bringing their problems to us. We don't need their problems. We've 10,000 homeless Irish, 4,000 are children. We need to look after the Irish first. Thank you for listening on the Banrion Show. It's Irish News Radio. You're listening to the Banrion Show. It's 8 p.m. in the evening. This is Alistrina. We'll be talking about a lot of controversial subjects on this radio station. And on my show today, every day, we will have a different day to talk about a different topic. So today, on Saturday, we've been talking about the horrible, horrible government. The government department of lies, one after another. And it's time, people, you look into Project 2040 that Leo is talking about. It is scary times. It's happening. We are being replaced. Our children are being held back educational. They will not get the education we got because their children, their schools are being put in with migrants who have no basic education at all. Their parents have no education. They're being put into with God knows what. And they are going to be held back in so many ways. The future is looking bleak for us, extremely bleak. I'd say black at this stage, unless you people wake up and say no more migrants. Put Irish children first, put Irish women first, put Irish healthcare first, put Irish homeless people first, put Irish children first. 4,000, and the biggest numbers between 0 and 4. Unless you people start fighting back, this bullshit blasphemy law that's going to cost millions. No. Leave it. Nobody's touched it in 200 years. You need to put the millions into the homeless. Stop bringing non-Irish in and putting country areas in danger. We have enough of our own. No more. Stop it. But, you know, people, it's up to you to wake up and wake other people up and say, this is enough. It's not fair on the Irish children that they will go to school. That they've been held back in places. If there's more migrants into that area, the Irish will be put back and they'll have to wait a year older. So they're being held back. And when they finally get into the class, they're sitting beside God knows who. Some of them aren't even children. They're sitting beside with these people who are basic, no English, have basics of education. And the teacher will have to sit there going back to the very basics, and the rest of the class is being held back. This is not right. This is their land. This is their country. This is Ireland for the indigenous Irish. Those people can go home. They can go back. When all this mess, this government has destroyed Ireland and the Irish, there is nowhere place to go for the Irish. They have nowhere else that they can just pop off to. It is a disgrace, but you all need to stand together and say enough. We need to take down this government and stop it. Let's protect Ireland and the Irish, not these bullshit who come in and breathe in Irish air and get a passport. That is not Irish. Irish is to be indigenously Irish is that your parents, your grandparents, your great parents are Irish. Not that you breathe it in for 2 seconds and you became Irish. That does not make you Irish. And you shouldn't want to be something you're not. You're just a fake, false people going around. Like, I've had to revert to myself as indigenous or native Irish because there's so many people going around saying they're Irish who obviously aren't Irish. And I've had many of these stupid arguments and they're like, well, I've got an Irish passport. That means nothing because we have a horrendous government who's only half Irish, who's decided that everybody should be bloody Irish and we should take in everybody, no matter what the destruction or what disaster it leaves in the indigenous Irish, our culture, our language and our race. time to say no more. Fight them. Fight the whole lot of them. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin. Take them all down. Enough is enough. Thank you for listening. This is the Banrion Show on Irish News Radio, itv.ie. You can contact anything I've said on news@irishnews.net. Thank you very much. I'm very passionate about that. We must get back because we have no future. That is not a future that the government's talking about, that our children are not being educated and that they're not Irish. There is no identity anymore left, and that is a sad, sad day. Listening to the Banrion Show. It is Saturday on Irish News Radio. Just an interesting thing also I was reading about Soros has bought shares for Trinity students. He's buying off Trinity. No wonder we're producing more liberal, self-hating Irish. Soros is all over our government. He's all over Higgins. He's all over. We are not going to have a country. He's taking it apart. And until you people wake up and say enough, get everybody out of the government, we have to go back to 1916 and stop recognising. Leo has no mandate. He was not voted in. It is not democracy, so he cannot rule or sign anything if he was not voted in by the people. His party wasn't even voted in. Without a mandate, he can't do this. It's just leaving it up to our stupidity that we allow this to continue on. Enough is enough. Stop it all now. All these are being rigged. I'm 100% sure our voting is being rigged, so we need to just stop it. We need a new government, and the only way is to just stop recognising the old government by stop paying our taxes, getting everything paid in cash. We need to start from the scratches and start getting the hedge schools again. Get a group of teachers. We need to start teaching Irish people Irish culture, Irish language, Irish traditions. Back to the basis. You have to have Irish blood to go to these schools. There's enough schools for non-Irish everywhere else. But this has to stop. The breakdown of our culture and our race is happening. It's very much alive. We will not. We are literally being called a white European as if they're all one. They're all not one. We all have very different individually races. And that is a lovely thing. Obviously, we're all part of the human race. I hate that stupid argument. But Celts are completely different. We also have Norman Irish as well. We need those. We need to know our culture, our identity. We're not white Europeans. We're on the continent of European, but we've very little European blood. And all this bullshit of trying to mix us all into one world, it is a disgrace. It's disgusting. It's cutting everything out that our forefathers died for. Was for us to be able to have our own land, our own culture, our own language, and our own way of life. Thank you for listening on the Irish News Radio, itv.ie. And anything I've talked about, you can contact at news@irishnews.net. We're running out of time, people, and I'm really running out of hope. You just need to wake up and start fighting back. When are you going to fight? More and more I see stupid liberals, and I think this destruction of Ireland and our ways is good. This is scary. We need to fight back. Thank you for listening.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.